Hey guys, my name is Andrew and I'm the stream manager for Spikeball. I just wanted to share a couple things before we get started. First, if you click the bell button at the top of the stream, then you'll get notified every time we go live or release any future content. If you do miss any of our streams or content that we release, we're uploading them all to our YouTube channel after each stream. That YouTube channel is youtube.com/SpikeballRoundnet Association. If you go to the About section of our channel here on Twitch, you'll find a list of chat commands. Those chat commands can be used anytime during the stream. They'll bring up some helpful links like the SRA Facebook group or things like that. So feel free to use those whenever you want. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in chat.
All right. Looks like we're live and ready to go. I think they're still warming up though.
Oh, we're live?
I think so.
Awesome.
I'm
okay.
Not here.
Oh, well, there we go. All right, yeah. So they're warming up right now. The teams it's Ezra and Pat versus Tony and Ben. What are you thinking about this game, Dylan?
I'm excited to see Tony play, first and foremost, because it's been a long time since, I think the last time I played was Spicy Dirt, and I think something we're going to talk about over and over again is how bad the rust is during quarantine. So I'm excited for that, and of course I'm excited to see Pat and see what he's got going on. How about you?
Yeah, exactly what I was saying. I mean, Tony's definitely an interesting part of this because people may forget. I certainly didn't, but he was second place at nationals, so he had a nice run with Dan McPartland. But it's been a while, so we'll see what's more of a deterrent: Tony's rust or Pat's kind of freshness, if you will.
That is such a great. I was actually thinking about Spicy Dirt's run like the other day because Gasway and I were talking about that crazy nationals bracket and how Spicy Dirt was on that side. That was
Spicy Ruby.
I'm sorry. Yes, Spicy
Yep.
Ruby. Spicy Ruby. Yeah. So yeah, that's a great trivia question.
For real. So it looks like we got Ezra and Pat with the first point. He hits a rim and then gets it on. Oh, that's a good touch by Ezra. Set by Pat. Ezra couldn't put it on.
Oh, that's that was a good try. A good try by Ezra though.
Yeah. No, honestly, like Pat, knowing he doesn't have much experience, that was a good, solid set from out deep with that.
Oh, that fisted Anthony wrench serve. Oh, I just miss it.
It's beautiful. It'll be interesting to see like how, because Tony's kind of an encapsulation of the way the game was a couple years ago since he hasn't played much. So, but honestly, a lot of these players are. Ben probably has the most up-to-date, at least serve, if you will. Him being lefty especially helps. But, ooh, the tough pocket right there by Tony.
Pops right up. Oh, good dive.
Oh man,
What
seen a lot of pockets and a lot of awkward hits right now, which just looks like a rust to me.
And it's interesting because I would say, yeah, Ben definitely has the more modern serve, but then Ezra and Tony both are like, get it on, and Tony's super fast, so he can play some really good defense.
Yep, which, I mean, playing against a new player like Pat, I think is going to be a huge break here, because he can just get it on and play that defense, because Pat doesn't necessarily have the experience to put the ball where it needs to be. Looks like an easy 1, 2, 3. Great dive. Not enough.
Oh man, that's a great one for the camera though. You love to see it.
Absolutely. You can take a picture frame of that. That's a good profile picture right there.
And guys, if you're at home too, I have both the Anthony Wrench's stream and Spikeball's stream. So if you post a question in the comments, Logan and I can try and answer it. If you have any questions about quarantine or these players or anything pertaining to Spikeball or roundnet.
Absolutely. Looks like the score is around 4-3 with Ben and Tony in the lead.
And Logan, I'm gonna have you lead because I am, just so you know, definitely delayed on my end. So everything you're saying, I'm seeing it like 3 seconds later.
I was picking up on that a little bit. I wasn't sure, but I felt like that was the case.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know. So you can spoil me. It's fine.
Okay, sounds good. We just had a great touch by Tony, and he got the ball up, but was not able to get it back on to finish.
That was a tough set by Ben. I feel like, as probably, in my opinion, the better player here, he should have given Anthony a better chance at that.
Absolutely agree. And we gotta leave the serve from Pat, very much the day one step forward and slam it down. Brings back the good old days of starting out with roundnet.
Oh, great shot. Was that a clean shot by Ben? I like it.
Was it clean? Wow. Yes so.
Really looked like front rim, but you know what? If there's two people I trust, it's the Dantowitz.
That's so true. Great dive. And he gets up and puts it on. Easy touch by Ben, though. Beautiful set. And a rimmer tweener, I believe. So I think that's Pat and Ezra.
That's an athletic movement to get that drop serve. But yeah, it's so funny because like you can see Pat, definitely a newer player. You hit it right on the head, like playing like a 2015 player. you can just tell those movements, and everyone just starting to figure out the sport. So definitely refreshing to see that.
I've been impressed with just the way he's been setting. He's been getting good touches on the ball, and I mean, this is a good rally right here.
Oh, what a set by Ezra.
Wow, way to put on. Oh, I guess it looks like there was a fault somewhere. I'm not sure what it was.
Oh, I think Pat might have hit the net when he dove for the set. But yeah, I think something that a lot of newer players struggle to conceptualize is setting to the net as opposed to the player. And I think Pat's doing a really good job of that, like setting the ball towards the net.
Absolutely, and it's pretty close as well. That's one of the hardest things when you start is a lot of times every other sport you're passing to a player, and it's hard to get that idea, but he's doing it really well and putting it close. And Ezra's finishing for the most part. They just aren't getting good enough hits to complete the point for the rally.
Right.
So
Ben blast that one past Ezra.
Yeah, that was such a crisp hit. Pocket. Nope, they don't choose to play that. Ezra's not trusting it. But then they get the drop. That was cruel, Ben.
Oh, with a little backspin on it, too.
Yep. So I think it's about 9-6 Ben and Tony over Ezra and Pat.
And in terms of competitive play, whenever I was playing, like let's take the score 9-6 for example. If you're behind, it's almost kind of a race to 15 at that point. Slowly chipping away and to try and meet him at 15 so that you have a shot going into the latter 6 points. Because I think it's so important to knot it up when you're behind going into like 15, 16s.
No, that really is such a great point because any deficit, I would say 2 or greater after 15, it feels so much more, I don't want to say insurmountable, but it's so much harder to catch up as opposed to 4-15. Like a deficit almost feels like nothing unless it's huge before 15, just because that's a lot of times the way the games go. And even if you see less experienced teams versus more experienced teams, a lot of times the less experienced teams will get leads, and then it's just the more experienced teams are worried because that experience catches up to you around 15. That was a great rally.
No, I completely agree. But that rally, there were a lot of great dives there. So love to see it. I mean, you hit it on the head right there because in roundnet, every lead just feels so much bigger, especially when you're playing with guys like Ben and Ezra, who play in Premier. They've played in, I'm sure, a few pro divisions. I know at least Summer Spike last year. So they're very high-level players that those breaks just feel so much bigger.
That was a beautiful set by Ben, and they're able to get it back on, and this rally's going.
Wow.
Oh, and then it looks like Ben and Tony got it. He might have hit rim, but that was a beautiful set by Ben mid rally.
That set was money.
It was so great. And I mean, there's sets like that that just like make this game so much fun to watch. The sport in general, just seeing it spot on like that, and I mean the higher level pro division, you see so many of those, and it just makes it so much fun to watch.
Well, I made the observation a couple times when I was commentating during the season that for me, at this level in the sport, what I appreciate the most are the Ryan Fitzgeralds of the world, Clark Marshalls, who can just set butter like when they're diving from like 30 feet away. I just think it's such a like underappreciated skill in roundnet, but it's so important in setting.
And like whether you're diving or not, when you're setting from that far out, it just feels and looks so athletic. And I think a lot of people, when they're drawn to the sport, it's those defensive touches that give them that, oh man, this is fun feeling.
Definitely, that's a great point.
A lot of good touches in this game, though. There's a nice touch by Tony. And again, I've been impressed with how well Pat's been getting it. And he puts it away right there and gets a point for him and Ezra. They're needing some with the deficit building a little bit.
I think the cool thing, especially when you have a newer player, and sometimes I definitely am one that fell into this hole when I was playing, but sometimes newer players are always active. They're always ready defensively. They're so excited about the sport. And sometimes like more, experienced players, they kind of take a few points off here or there, which is why I like watching newer players more. Like they never take their foot off the gas, and I love that. And they're able to, Pat's obviously doing a great job of getting to a lot of balls.
And it's almost as if, and part of this is true, but the more you play, you're like, oh, like offense is so overpowered, I'm not going to get to it anyway. And so more experienced players will stop and, like you said, take a play off. And even if offense is overpowered, that doesn't mean you should ever take a play off, because there's always opportunities to get the ball that you don't see coming, pockets or maybe just a miss hit by the hitter. And newer players, they don't have the mentality yet, and I think that's a great point.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and especially to your point about pockets and stuff. We're at the stage where even pro players, like a 1, 2, 3 that you think they're going to put away, they occasionally will. Oh, nice tweener by Ben. You will see them pocket it up or miss-hit it. Or I've even seen Tyler Chiswick, who's one of the most creative hitters in the game. Like he flubs sometimes, and I don't know if it's a lack of focus or what, but that to your point, it's always worth it to be in a good defensive position.
And that's almost part of the defensive strategy. It's not necessarily like, yes, you play where you think the ball's going to go and you work to get in that position, but it's playing for the opportunities rather where the ball's going to go. Because I mean, odds are at least the higher levels, the ball is going to be put away, but you've got to play as if there is going to be something to happen, so you can be there to get that touch.
Definitely, and I think like that when we talk about players like Jarrett Rouse, Kenny Ortega, Ryan Fitzgerald, like that's something that I see from them routinely. It's just, especially Kenny, is effort every point.
Yep.
So I think it's not a shocker that like that correlates to Kenny having some of the most insane highlights that we've seen, is because he just never gives up.
Absolutely, because all it takes is a slight miss hit, and if you're there playing for that to possibly be a case, you get that touch. And I mean, Kenny makes it look beautiful when he does it.
Yeah, I think someone posted his defensive point against Wabi Sabi. I think that was at 2018 West Regionals, and against Preston Bias, who's probably the best hitter in the game. And he just didn't give up at all. And he threw his body in front of a Jarrett Rouse hit. Jarrett Rouse being a top 10 player, so he just does not give up. And Loma won that point. So I think that's what gives Kenny in particular so many opportunities.
Point was literally on my mind. I could just watch that on repeat over and over. It's so nice.
Oh my gosh.
Good.
Yes.
It's a good touch by Ezra, but then Pat couldn't finish it. They're still hanging. They're hanging in there, down by 3 points, but they're going to need a little bit something, like we were talking about, that race to 15. You got to pick it up a little bit.
Because now they're in the situation, right? They were down 6-9, and they haven't made any progress since then. Now these points, like you said, are magnified. They feel like 2 or 3x. It doesn't feel like they're down 4. It probably feels like they're down 10.
Yep. At least it is a bright side. They've been able to hold the bleeding a little bit. They had that short stint around, 6 to 9 there where they went down, but at least they've been able to hold. So if they can change the momentum, that is an opportunity for them.
Right.
Good touch by Ezra. Nice drop. That's a break, I believe.
That's a beautiful shot. And I think that's a great example of what I reference, like hitting with your eyes a lot. Like with a lot of newer players, I teach them to hit with their eyes, meaning hitting becomes so natural that instead of looking at the ball and the net, you can kind of, using your peripherals, observe where the defenders are and just like flick the ball where they're not. And that's something that a lot of the pro level players are really good at, which is why offense usually holds at the pro level.
Exactly. I mean, I think hitting with your eyes is a great way to say it. It's that just awareness. It kind of comes down to like the round net IQ of knowing where the defenders are and being able to sense that.
Absolutely. Good little push flick there from Ezra.
It looks like it's 15-16. Ezra and Pat are pulling it together. 16-17 is what I'm seeing.
Yeah,
they're pulling it together.
It's a couple of breaks in a row, gets them down. Now they're just down one more to tie it up and see if game one can go into extras. Oh, good try by Ezra. Right spot, but he just unfortunately doesn't get the body positioning down, which is one of the more difficult things to do in round net. Play body defense so that the ball pops straight up as opposed to down into the ground.
And it's like that's one of the hardest parts of even a lot of players who obviously not like the top defenders, but a lot of players who are good at defense, they still struggle with that getting the ball to pop up where they want with body defense. And I think that's a big added skill. It's tough to master, but really can up the level of defense once you get it.
Yeah, 100%. So a lot of good effort still. I see 19-15, so I don't know if the stream score was behind it. Ezra tries to bull shot that, and I guess, oh wow, I thought that was rim, but I think he got it.
Oh, nice. Not rim was a pretty shot. Ooh, couldn't quite run that down. I was making. Oh man, I'm not gonna lie. I don't remember I think there was a hinder.
Yeah, I think off camera, Ezra might have like had something to run into, so they're gonna redo the point.
Got it. Oh, great touch and great finish by Ezra right there.
Baited him super hard. I love that. Do you think Pat can make Premier with Ezra as his partner? Depends what you mean. If you mean today, probably not.
No.
If you mean you mean by the end of the season, we've seen some incredible intermediate to Premier transformations in a season. So anything at this stage in our sport is possible.
And that's such a fun part of the sport and like the funnel of the system. Seeing players start out and then just like grind and make their way to Premier either within the season or within the next season. It's such a cool thing to rise up like that.
Yeah, and we the two examples that come to my mind with that is Spencer Schmidt, who started 2018 in intermediate and then made the pro division at nationals. Unfortunately, he had a bad injury and couldn't really perform, but that throughout a course of 4 or 5 months was incredible. And then Warren Foote, who qualified for Premier at San Francisco 2019, he actually won a tour stop later that year in August. He won Utah. And so, yeah, it's such a cool aspect of a brand new sport is that players, especially if you're athletic and you learn the skills, can come on hard and come on fast.
Absolutely. All right, I think we're going to have the players come on. Are y'all on with us, Ezra?
Yeah, we are. We're going to pull over to the side.
Okay. Are you ready for questions?
Yeah. Come over here.
Okay.
We'll take questions.
Ezra, you and Pat, what do you think you need to fix to take it in game two? Looks like y'all have some good touches. I was really impressed with Pat's sets. What do you need to fix to take it in game two?
I think if we slow it down a little bit more on some of those second touches, we can get them closer to net. And then on defense in general, I think I'm under-rotating a little bit, and I can just go like one or two more steps to close it off.
Ezra, you are just throwing your body everywhere. What is the motivation on this random Saturday to give it your all?
We've been playing on pavement 2 or 3 times a week, where like the thought of bending your knee is dangerous. So now that we're on grass, this is not a nice field, but it's still grass. It's like any excuse to fall over is valid.
I
love that. You have so much footage.
Any questions for Pat? This is Pat's debut.
Pat, Pat, what is it like being held back by Ezra so much?
Yeah, so I'm fresh to the scene. I'm new here, and I don't know enough about the game to really call out Ezra's faults. But I'm told by Ben that they're plenty. So really, I hope that I can support Ezra in the way that really utilizes him to his best self. But really, if we come up short today, it can't be the fact that I'm just brand new.
Of course. How did you feel about your playing in that first game?
Maximum effort, minimum talent and skill. So I think really utilizing my own strengths. Yeah.
I like that.
Great synopsis.
All right, what was that?
Great synopsis. That was picture perfect.
Today or in general? Like very different answers.
It is all right. Ben there?
Yeah, I've got me, and if you need Tony, I can get him.
Let's get Tony on here as well.
I'm not actually. Like just like not doing the classic like wind up and hit as hard as you can for the serve.
Yeah,
But
we got Tony.
Hey,
Tony, you on?
And then,
Yeah, I'm on here, I'm
he
here.
was like, hey, Ezra,
How would you compare the environment between this game and your national championship game?
well, we're outside. That is much nicer. I'll tell you that. But like nothing
That's
rivals
probably
that.
the only
2017.
difference.
Yeah, there are a lot of fans. You guys just can't see them. They're off the side of the shot. No, like the energy that day had was pretty unrivaled. But today is good. Like we got a nice sunny day. Like we're having some fun rallies, some fun plays here. So they're both great for different reasons.
Tony, the
Love it.
fans want to know when you're going to try and qualify for air again.
The first tour stop that happens again. That's my answer.
With Al, of course, right?
Hey, if Al's in, we might have to make a comeback.
The revival, the dirt revival.
Spicy dirt, baby. People haven't seen us for too
Dylan
long.
loves to hear that. A lot of free dubs off of Spicy Dirt.
Dylan's been waiting for me to say that, haven't you, Dylan?
Spicy dirt was one of the OG OV counters. I could not figure out how to play against Spicy dirt. So yeah, I would love to see.
That's fair. That's fair. You did beat us every time, but we gave you a few runs for your money.
That's great. All right, you got anything else, Dylan?
No, I think that's it. I'm excited for game 2 and to see if Ezra will get it together, you know? That's really the missing link here.
Yep. The question is, how far can that Fuego take him?
Yeah. Can you?
All right, we'll
okay,
catch
so
you guys
I'm getting-
after game 2.
All right,
so
sounds
yes.
good.
I'm getting a question in chat. Can you guys give another major pro tip to help us intermediate players to raise our skill a bit higher? So Logan, what would your #1 tip for intermediate players be?
For me, for intermediate players, one, I think just the basics like setting and hitting, and really, if you're wanting to take it up, I'm a big fan of like drilling those skills. So just like work on getting your touchdown, work on getting more consistent hits, and I think Dylan talked a lot about hitting with his eyes, and even the step before that, just like getting that crisp swing and getting the ball to come crisply off the net. Because if you can hit with your eyes, but you're not getting the ball to come off crisp, defense is going to be able to react to that. So I would say, one, work on the fundamentals of hitting and setting. Make sure you can set consistently over the net well to players. And then hitting, just practice your hitting, get that motion down where you can hit it crisply.
Absolutely, I love that answer.
What do you got on top of that? I want to hear what you got to say as well.
Well, I think what you said is verbatim kind of the advice I give, especially on setting,
Yeah.
because we're at a sport where because offense is so important in terms of siding out, that your offensive skill set has to you have to know it like the back of your hand. And so it's about being comfortable with the ball, being comfortable with serving, setting, and hitting, but in particular setting and hitting, because those are the skills that translates most obviously to getting points. So for a lot of intermediate players, I just tell them 100 touches a day. I used to hit against the wall 200 on my right, 200 on my left every single day. So it was literal repetition so that it was instant, like my mind muscle connection was just there. My body knew what to do almost automatically, so that you can use those skills to propel you to hitting with your eyes, getting more creative with setting away from the defense. Like, so there's stepping stones, right? But I think #1, like intermediate players, if I had one piece of advice, it was just be more comfortable with the ball. Like just drill.
And I think such a trap for intermediate players is serve, because if you get a solid serve, like you can move through intermediate pretty well, and you can even make a good run through advanced pretty well, but you kind of hit this wall once you start getting to higher level competition because your skills don't match. Serve can only take you so far that lower. And if you're just focusing on the serve, you're not going to have those fundamentals. And then eventually when you get somewhere, you're going to hit a wall. You're going to have to go back to building that up. So I definitely think start out with the hitting and the setting, and that's going to take you farther. And then eventually, like once those skills match the competition, then you start building the serve in there as well. And then that will help you get higher and higher.
That is such a great point because there are so many people, I think, especially in beginner, intermediate, or lower advanced, that are so tunnel visioned on serve because it's so impressive to see cuts
Yep.
and reverse cuts and ambidextrous serving. But you're right. Like if you don't learn the skill set of hitting and setting, and a big one that people always forget about, serve receive. Like if you don't have those skills, you're exactly right. Like you might have a serve that carries you to like mid or upper advanced, but I guarantee when you get to premier, you're gonna get slaughtered if you don't have those skills already like ingrained in you. So I think that's such a great point. Another comment:
Yep.
Dylan is a former intermediate champ, so he knows what he's talking about. You better believe it.
So true.
Pat is looking phenomenal. We were saying he's giving a lot of effort. He's getting some great touches, great sets. He is in it, man.
Ironically, he just had a bit of an error right there while we were praising Pat, but for the most part, Pat's been pretty good, like Dylan said.
Man, you hate to see it. You hate to see that.
It's a commentator's curse, right?
That's right. Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's a good touch by Ezra. Little struggle by Pat there, though.
That was a sneaky good set by Anthony, too. When the ball is that low to the ground, to pick it up and give it enough height without carrying the ball is, like, really challenging.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we had a few tough points by Ezra and Pat to start off, but they're still in this, and we'll see how they can play. Oh man, Ezra had the position to get a good touch there. It looks like it came off the heel of his hand, and just Pat couldn't get there.
And as soon as I say a great set by Anthony, what an awful set by Anthony. a lot of spin on that ball, very high.
So high.
Good on Ben, just so high. Good on Ben just to get it on.
Yep.
Can we get a Pat interview after this game? Actually, he is the only person that we are willing to talk to after. Actually, regardless of the score, we need Pat on.
I completely agree. All right, missed first serve for Ezra. Looks like they're down 2-3.
And I think so. We talked a little bit about strategy when you're like in a tournament, and I think if I'm Ezra and Pat, something that I always thought about if I lost game one was just how important a strong start was in game two. Obviously, because you need to win game two to force a game three. But just like we were talking about playing from behind and how it almost gets magnified the longer a game goes, when you're playing with the lead, it just gives you that much comfort if you can get up 6-3, 7-4, 8-5, and you have a little bit of a cushion. And then when you're serving, you can just like put a ton of pressure on the team who's already down because they can't make any mistakes.
Yep, it gives you more freedom to kind of, yeah, like you said, put that pressure on your serve, which is good. And I think one thing that's important when you lose game one and you're coming into game two, with a lot of teams, there's that like mental thing. Oh, I took game one, like we're the better team. We're going to take game two now. And that's a little bit of an advantage for the losing team because it gives them that, like you even said, comfort a little bit. And so you can catch them off guard a little bit. And I've seen a lot of teams where there's one team who's much better than the other team, and they win game one pretty handily, and then their mindset gets relaxed. And then game two, they somehow drop it just because they have that relaxed mindset.
Completely agreed. They're like already, if it's the round of 16, they're already thinking about the quarters. They're already thinking about the semis, and they haven't finished the job that they're doing. So yeah, it's such a great point. And it's actually relatively common in our sport where a team will win game one and they'll lose game 2 and 3, and just like that, like they're ousted.
Exactly, and it's exciting to see that. But I think just in sport and combat, the longer the series go, generally the better team comes on top. Like that's what makes March Madness so fun. Is with one game, if you don't have the right mindset, it really gets to you. So the shorter the series are, the more that is prevalent.
Absolutely, which is why, like myself personally, I I enjoyed the season that we were double elimination, but I truly like that we're single elimination because it allows for more upsets. It allows for top teams to need to focus more, not knowing that they have like a safety net of the losers run.
Yep, completely agree there. All right, looks like the game is tied up or close to that. So Ezra and Pat had kind of a rough start, but they've picked it up a little bit. And I've seen Tony's had a few rough hits, but Pat's starting to pick it up now and get some good sets. And we got a rally going on here. Good touch by Ezra. Nice set by Pat, and Ezra puts it on. Tweener by Ben. Ooh, a little flick shot by Ezra. And just a lot of awkward hits right now. A lot of, oh my goodness. And it ends with a hinder.
Oh, I hate to see it. That is gonna, that's gonna be on Friday on Do Barrel's Instagram, folks.
Yep. Wow, I think that was one of the best rallies yet, and you hate when it ends like that.
Especially because I still think one of the more gray areas in our sport is about a strong offensive versus a regular, hinder. Like who serves next. I think like there's still a lot of, gray area there. So for that one,
Yep.
I don't know what you would say there, but that's what's so tough about those rallies sometimes is that call that the observer makes, whether it's like a strong offensive hinder or not, is a big deal.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a potential extra point or not, and especially when it could have been yours. That's a complete reversal and a swing of 2 points, if you will.
Oh, nice try by Ezra there. And especially when it's a part of the game we haven't really touched on very much, which is the mental side of it. I've been in a lot of matches since we've gotten observers where a call really gets into the mind of especially some of the younger players. Like I love him, but Coleman let a call last year get to him really bad, and he played poorly the rest of the match. So it's just something to keep in mind is that there is a mental side of it, just like any sport.
Yep. I think just in general, I think the mental side of this sport is something that's not talked about too much. Just like how calls come into play, just like the psychology of where you are in the match, and just like different mental players. I think that's something that doesn't get touched on a whole lot, but is a really interesting aspect of the sport.
And here's something I literally just thought of, and I'm not sure how true this is, but especially sports like tennis, like roundnet, where there's so much perfection expected that all those little errors they almost snowball in a way in some people's mind. And especially where in baseball or basketball, like you might shoot 50% of basketball, you might be a 300 hitter in baseball, and you're considered an all-star. But in sports like roundnet, like especially at the pro level, you have to kill that ball like 99% of the time. Like that's what's acceptable. So I think like those little errors can stack up in your mind.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, one small error, like that could be the game. Whereas like baseball, you mentioned being a 300 hitter, you're an all-star, but like you make one small error, that's the point, and the points are huge in the higher levels.
Yeah. Which is it just makes it so impressive, when we talk about Chico and Chiswick Showalter and these dominating teams in our sport, that they're able to go out each and every tournament and just dominate in the way that no other teams have done in our sports history. I just find it so impressive because of that. You just have to be on all the time, very minimal errors, and almost robotic, which is like how I describe Peter John a lot.
Yep. And it's like, at least certainly with Chiswick Showalter, like they have impressive serving and whatnot, but like honestly, just like that consistency to me is far more impressive than their serving, just because there's a lot of players now you see who are like picking up solid serves, but that consistency is just, it's hard to replicate.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. And especially like, I think consistency on serve receive is so challenging. And I remember at last year's, this is a great rally. Hold on. Oh, man. I remember last year at 2019 Chicago co-ed was actually Peter John and Tyler were facing against each other in the finals. and they are just launching bullets at each other from a serving perspective. And Peter John and Tyler both like just are brick walls back there and getting perfect touches to the middle of the net. And of course, we saw that at the 2019 national finals. Both Boisterous and Chiswick Showalter just putting on such a great display of serve receive that to me is like consistency. I totally agree with you, but the serve receive is like what, in my mind, is almost borderline unthinkable. How like they're able to be that consistent on serve receive.
And the reality is, a serve is only as good as the serve receiver is bad.
Yes, that's a great point.
Oh, almost a beautiful kick up from Ben, but instead went right into his face.
Which is, of course, entertaining. So we'll allow it, Ben.
Yeah, I prefer it.
Yeah. All right, so we're knotted at 13. So unlike game one, Ezra and Pat have been able to go 1-for-1 with Ben and Tony, but now we enter the aspect of the game where it becomes, again, those little errors will definitely start to rack up here. And now pretty much perfection is what you're looking for when you get to 14, 15.
I think Tony's setting has been a lot more off this game. We mentioned that high set and with lots of spin earlier. I've seen a few of those since. So I think that's allowed Pat and Ezra to take advantage of at least a couple and stay in here.
Yeah, I think that's like the downside of high setting. Like I personally really like setting high because wow, that is a high set. Because it allows like my hitter, my teammate, a lot of different options, and it allows him to change his eye level so that he can see where the defenders are, let the ball drop, and then finish the ball. But there's a limit on it. Like some of these,
Yeah.
Anthony is setting, like they're going up in the sun, and that like definitely does not help.
There's a certain level of high setting, like oh wow, nice body on by Tony, not on purpose, but it had to happen. Well, it didn't pan out for him though. There's a certain level of high setting that, like you said, yes, like I prefer that too, especially when hitting, like because it gives you more options. But if the arc gets high enough, that ball comes down a lot harder, and those options become a lot less because that ball's coming a lot faster.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. That body on by Anthony reminded me of a top play from 2016 where at Summer Spike, Preston just like belly hit a ball with his belly on the net, and against he's in the third place game, it got the point. Very Preston.
It's amazing. Yep. All right, looks like Pat and Ezra are kind of taking control a little bit right here. Been able to take advantage of a few mistakes by Tony and Ben.
Well, like Ezra said, I think he's very happy to not be playing on concrete because he is just going after everything. Starting to serve a little bit harder too. Not going with the fuego as much, going more with just the straight forehand for speed. As I say that.
Pat's there for the touch. Oh, but I think he hit rim on that.
Another one that we're seeing a lot of is short sets. Short sets are really tough because you take away the vision of the net from your hitter, and he's blindly hitting into defense that he can't see. So I've always preferred sets that are a little too powerful over sets that are short.
I mean, that short set you just have, like you said, hitting blindly. You don't really have any options. You just got to put it on.
Right. Great touch by Ezra.
Great touch, and yeah, just completely took Ezra and Tony. Out of position. Yeah, okay. Pat has the ball. Their serve, and it looks like it's either 18-15 or 19-15. Ezra and Pat in the lead.
So now
20.
Pat. Oh wow.
20-15.
Wow.
Sorry. Yeah.
So let's see. This is going to be a tough battle for Ben and Tony to try and get 5 straight to force extras here. Well, let's see how Pat's composure is towards the end. Again, sometimes there is this pressure when you have 20 points, you just need one more. But if you overthink it, that 1 point becomes a lot more challenging to achieve.
And there we go. They finished it. But yeah, on that point, I mean, we bring up Chiswick Showalter, like again and again, there's been games where like they're down several and ends, and then they just turn it on, and all of a sudden they won. And it's like, how did that even happen?
Yeah. We might want to do a player interview, but I've got a great story about Peter John. So at 2018, this was the first year that co-ed had a real circuit, and through most of the season, Peter John didn't really place high, and AK and I at the time were winning a lot, and then we pull up to Chicago Grand Slam, and someone tells me before the tournament starts that, hey, Peter John's gonna try this tournament, and I was like, what are you talking about? He tries, blah blah. Peter John was not trying, because I tell you, he goes on to win the Chicago Grand Slam easily, destroys AK and then wins nationals easily, and now I don't think he's lost a co-ed tournament since then. So you talk about like turning it on and the ability to like really get to a next level, like that is one of the best stories for me to really understand that from like a 3-time national champion and probably the biggest winner in our sport.
All right, we got y'all on. Ben, Ezra, Pat, Tony.
This is Ezra. Sorry, we're just collecting balls.
No worries. All right, how'd it feel to get that W? Pull it out.
I mean, we know these guys. We live, but it still felt really because we usually lose.
That's true. That's true. I mean, are you gonna hold it against them that you beat them this game?
For sure. I mean, we plan on winning game 3, but even if we don't, we know that like scoring that huge upset was big for us.
Love it. What was the
other guys are here now too.
Oh, they're here now. Well, first of all, what was the biggest key? Actually, I want to hear from Pat. I want to know what the biggest key from Pat was in pulling out that W.
I would say that I took it a little slower. I got some comments after game 1, and overhit it, and just tried to like split the defense a little bit. I'm very tired, but I do feel like we benefit a little bit from the grass because we're willing to hurt ourselves for the victory because we win so infrequently.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah. So I don't know. How does it look from your guys' end?
It's looking good. It's looking good. To be honest, game 2 was a little more sloppy, but you guys pulled it together better than they did, and y'all started playing crisp there at the end, and it was a nice finish, and there were some fun rallies there.
I think the sloppiness you can usually attribute to Ben. He's a high ceiling, low floor type of player.
Yeah, I've always thought that.
Excuse me. Sorry, I didn't hear you broke up, Dylan.
I was just saying, I say the same thing about you.
Sorry, let's come down with something.
Oh no.
What's your bad connection?
I don't know. I'll give you Ben. Pat and I are gonna go warm up so we don't lose.
Ben?
What's happening?
That's what I want to know. What happened?
So we identified shorts being a weak point for us, as Pat pointed out. We are not as gritty on the ground. Tony actually very much gets on the ground. I do not. So I need to shore up some of those drops that Pat put in between us. That's going to save us 1 or 2 holds. Maybe get a break. That's, I think, the biggest thing. We got this game.
Yeah, I think we're a bit tired too. We had a couple of really nice rallies in game 1 and tired ourselves out a bit. And game 2, we just didn't have quite the same energy, but feeling a little rested now going into game. So need to be back to.
Sounds like a lot of tired going on, a little quarantine worn out.
Yeah, it's hard to replicate playing on grass when you don't have grass to play on. We're just not able to move as much, and despite all the quarantine workouts we're doing, there's just nothing like roundnet. Really a good workout for you.
So true.
I think that's something we can all agree with. Well, good luck, boys.
Appreciate it.
So while we are going into game 3, we just want to shout out again, guys. This stream is we're raising money for Feeding America donations. So we have donated per viewer. We're doing $6 per viewer, so we're up to at least $250. So again, obviously we love roundnet. We miss roundnet. That's why we're doing the stream, but we're also raising money for a good cause. So if you want to share the stream with fellow Spikeball/roundnet players or friends or family, we would greatly appreciate it because we're trying to do whatever we can do to help people out during this time.
Absolutely. I mean, this stream, we're doing these streams because where we're at right now is to keep a lot of people safe and help them be in a better place. And obviously a lot of people are struggling from that. So the more people watching this, the more people we can help out. So
absolutely. So going into game 3, what are your predictions? Are you going with the Ben and Tony, or are you going with the newcomer Pat and Ezra?
I mean, everything inside of me except my head wants to go with Ezra and Pat just because that Cinderella story. But I just have a hard time looking past the experience of Ben and Tony.
Yeah, that's a great one. I think Ezra's gonna go a little gazelle mode here, and I think he's gonna try and take over a little bit. And I'm gonna go with the underdogs. I'm gonna go Ezra, Pat. We're gonna go 31-29 game 3 is my prediction.
I respect that. I mean, I think we're gonna see all guns out. Like, I think this is the grudge match. These guys are roommates, so this game it's almost even more than just like at a tournament playing another team you want to win. But this, like, they got to go back and live with these guys. And if Ezra and Pat take this win, that's something that they can hold over them for a while. So that's a motivating factor.
Yeah. Plus, I heard they have $10,000 on this game. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard that too.
Wild, absolutely wild. Oh, great shot by Ben.
Yep, that's a good start. Good start for Tony and Ben. Turn by Pat. Puts it a little high. Easy touch by Tony. Set by Ben. Not a great hit. And Ezra puts it away. Good little rally there, though.
And I think what I'm seeing from Pat a lot is the kind of Kenny Ortega approach of when he sets, he's on the ground. Like, he sets the ball and just falls on the ground, which interesting strategy. I think he's just allowing a smaller space in case Ezra wants to hit the ball towards him. He obviously points.
My guess is he's probably so focused on the ball that, like, he wants to make sure the ball's right, that just he's not focused really on, like, his balance or anything, and so then his body just collapses because he wants to make sure the set's good.
Another great set, falls on the ground.
Oh! And then he hits rim.
Oh. So that is the one area. It's another skill that people don't really talk about, which is net awareness, which is just something that comes from playing more, just knowing how to maneuver around the net from a hitting standpoint. We saw it Ben first point of the game with a little bit of good footwork and a push, and Pat is still working on his net awareness, I would say.
And I think one of the biggest areas where net awareness comes into play is those long sets running to net and hitting it. It's really hard to kind of time that and be prepared there. And when you have that net awareness, you're a lot better at those shots.
Oh, 100%. Especially because, as the sport has developed, we don't see as many super long, like, far away gets anymore. So players just aren't used to doing that. They're not used to chasing down a ball 30 feet away and then running back to the net to finish. It's very awkward. As someone who's done it maybe 3 times in my career, I can tell you all 3 of those times suck.
Yeah, they're definitely tough ones to try to take advantage of.
Oof. Pat might be feeling it a little bit here, feeling the pressure. Another rim, and Ben and Tony have jumped all over Ezra and Pat in game 3, 4-1 right now.
Ooh, nice little body there by Tony, and he puts it away pretty easily. That was a pretty finish right there.
Lovely defensive play. Tony, really fast, really explosive. That's kind of what I was joking about with Spicy Dirt earlier. He always played, especially Chris, very, very well defensively. So he's still showing that he got it a little bit. Great get, but not a great set by.
Not enough. And I think one thing we are seeing, we talked about serve receive earlier, Pat being a new player, he's really serve receiving. The ball is low, but he's serve receiving it with his hand, with his fingers up, rather than dropping his hand and receiving it there to give more loft on the ball. And he's kind of shooting it at Ezra. And Ezra's handling it pretty well for the most part, but if he were to kind of adjust his serve receive a little bit, he could give Ezra a lot better touches.
That's a great point. And I think we see that a little bit on setting too. He's kind of almost like pushing the ball towards the net, as opposed to, giving it a little bit of air, making it a little bit higher so that Ezra has better chance to get in position. So that's a great observation.
Pretty drop by Pat, though. Got it off, and great set by Ezra, and that was a nice finish from him.
I believe Anthony Wrench carried his set back there, so observers need to kind of step up their game.
Right. Oh, I thought Pat could run that one down. It was just off screen and looks like he missed it.
That was a great serve. I thought he was going to get an ace there.
Yeah. And it looks like it's Yep, 6'5". Rim. Nice little flick, but Tony is there. A little off net by Ben, but Tony puts it away.
That was a great hit by Tony, flipping over the net.
It was. Yep.
We already got some calls for a Pat interview post-game. Skylar said, did the salsa fuel you all to victory? So maybe they had a little bit of salsa, Skylar style.
Sure, we can unlock the secret. Is Skylar salsa the key to victory?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Ooh, pocket there on Tony's flick. Good set from Pat. And one thing we are seeing, a lot of his sets, and this is something you see with newer players, all overhead. Again, Ezra's handling them pretty well, but it just often can be a harder time to hit those because the ball is arcing a lot faster and coming down a lot faster with that.
And I think that might be it, but like I always was someone who hated hitting those balls too. Like the spin of coming over. Like I could always tell as a hitter, and there were times where I was like, am I being a little bit too ridiculous by asking people underhand? But it really does change the way like you hit the ball too.
Oh, 100%. Ooh, good hit by Ezra. Tony almost had a hand on that.
Yeah, that was a great. It's almost like a bait defensively. Like he baited that he was going to defend the push, but then Ezra pulled it, but Tony almost knew that Ezra was going to pull it and try to get a hand out at the last. So that's something you see very commonly at the premier level defensively.
Baiting is it's probably my favorite defensive tactic. It's so much fun, especially when you start to get a read on a hitter. If you can then bait them, it's a good feeling as well when you get it.
Definitely.
Ooh, rim by Ezra. They can't afford to have those mistakes as a less experienced team.
Yeah, and that set was a little jammy, a little bit, which is tough for a hitter. But I agree with you. Ezra at this stage has at least got to get it on because that provides Ben and Tony with a break to put him up. I believe 10-8. Yeah, there we go, 10-8 going into the second stage of the period.
The cheeky little set that Tony had midpoint there, walking away from the net, sets it overhand backwards and put it up pretty well for Ben to hit. But that was cheeky.
He had a couple ones where he was just walking there. Very, very confident right now.
Yep, he's feeling it. Oh, a double fault there from Ben. Got that 3-point lead. Can afford it a little bit right now, but don't want to get too laxed.
That is the one thing that I think most people can agree that we would love to see players develop more is more consistency with their serving. I know double faults is something that laser serve from Ezra. Oh god, Ben was not ready. But I think double faults. If there's one thing I'd like players to work on, is limiting those as much as possible.
Yep. And that's like again, I think it's this battle between consistency and I guess you can call it power, or what I guess power would be the best way to put it. Do you want more consistency or more power? And I think we see a battle between that right now.
Yeah. Well, and just because we are a sport that is predominantly side out, we're just seeing all types of creativity from a serving standpoint on what to do to make the serve receiver uncomfortable.
Yes.
Oh, great touch from Ezra.
And that was actually, from Pat.
From Pat, yeah, I like that.
Not the easiest one to handle for Ezra, not like an easy put on, but still, it was a pretty good set from Pat.
And I think that's the one situation where like overhand setting is okay. If someone is super far back and you're like, okay, I just got to give this a ton of air so that my teammate can get back to the net. You see Tyler Chiswick do that actually quite a bit. He does set overhand from far.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like overhand setting is more of a tool to have in your belt for when it is the right time rather than it being your primary way.
Yes, I agree with that.
So we got a 2-point lead, 13-11. A good dive by Tony and a all right set by Ben. It was a little off net. It looked like on camera it looked a little closer, but when Tony went to hit it, he was a little farther off and they couldn't quite finish.
Yeah. And again, to what I said earlier, I just think that's a great example of what is so challenging about short sets is like Anthony really didn't have a chance there.
Ooh, good little pocket. Pat put it on. Ezra runs it down. Let's see how Pat can set here. Oh, doesn't quite get it close enough, and they can't finish.
Great rally though.
Was. All
I
right,
think
and they're. I
that's
mean,
why
they're still. I was just say they're still hanging in there, not too far back.
No, I mean they're within striking distance right here, and we saw in game 2 that Ezra and Pat were able to go on a little bit, so it's definitely not over by any stretch of the imagination.
I got it.
Ezra slide in there, kind of take control of that first set. I think he trusted his setting a little bit more there and wanted to make sure to finish.
That's sometimes a tough one defensively. Is like, especially depending on your defensive team with your partner. Very common one early on was like one back, one close. But if someone hits a hard pocket and it falls in the middle of two players, that's always the worst feeling. So I think like Ezra recognized that happening, veteran of the game, and kind of took over there.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the most great set by Ezra, and Pat can't finish it. But
can I guess what you were about to say?
Yeah, you probably can. Yes, go ahead and guess.
Strange two guys.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Dead on. What was it? The score was that? I don't remember the score. I just remember it was late, and I believe game 3, and that basically was two guys going to the finals over Strange in 2016.
Yeah. So you're right. It was the semifinals of 2016 Nationals. Strange versus two guys, which ironically, in hindsight, you talked to both of those teams. They each say whoever won that match was going to beat Chico in the final, because that's, Strange had Chico's number that year in tournaments, and two guys. Preston was really starting to feel himself towards the end, and it's so you can watch that match on YouTube, and just to see Devin's face when Preston, I believe, gets that diving on, and Jared and Devin just let it drop in between them. It is really priceless and heartbreaking at the same time.
Absolutely, it kind of plays into what maybe played into that mental aspect we talked about, where missing something like that just has an effect on the mind and the finishing of that match.
I honestly can't imagine trying to finish a match after a point like that, because it was a great rally. It was starting to get rare towards the end of 2016, those great rallies amongst top teams.
Absolutely. All right, so 16-14. Oh, beautiful foot up by Ben. It looked like it hit rim, but apparently not. Okay, the rally's still going. Ezra gets a poor touch, and they can't finish. What a foot up by Ben.
I have to say that might be the second best foot up I've ever seen of all time. First being, of course, 2016 Chicago Grand Slam, Joel Graham getting an incredible foot up in the semis against Chico, but that was an incredible foot up.
I mean, if we want to talk, that was an incredible foot up. And then if you want to talk about the YouTube video that recently went viral, I believe there was a foot up there. That was pretty incredible. Right. Yeah, that was pretty amazing.
From our boys, the youth champs from RVA, who have just such a bright future ahead of them. They're grinding nonstop, and yeah, that was one of the most incredible. I think that's probably the best on that I've ever seen. I don't know about rally, but that's probably the best on I've ever seen.
Yeah, for sure. All right, looks like it's running down the wire. Ben and Tony have taken a pretty commanding lead. 19-16 looks like it is. We'll see if Pat and Ezra can answer.
Yeah, so they got one there on a really, really poor set by Anthony. So they definitely need to force those mistakes. Ezra's the person you want serving in this situation.
One thing we're kind of seeing from Pat, too, is a little late movement. Like, Ezra's getting a touch, and then Pat's just reacting late. And I don't know if that's because he's new or because he's tired, but it's putting him just out of position to get a set there because of the late reaction.
Yeah, I think rotation and anticipation are also very challenging skills.
Oh, yes.
That, because you need to know about the flow of how not just you move with your partner, but how offensive players move as well. That's very important.
And that's one of those things that, like, with hitting and setting, you can drill those. You can work on those. You can practice. a lot of the anticipation just comes with playing the game. Like I think watching film helps with that a little bit, but really just getting in the game and playing, that's how you more feel that movement.
Absolutely.
It looks like
good try.
Yep, that is game over. Ben and Tony take it 21-17. Pretty close there, game 3. Honestly, I think these games are closer than I expected, especially with Pat being a new player. But that was a solid series.
Well, again, for me, they were super entertaining. We saw a lot of good touches. We saw a lot of good effort. We saw a lot of good rotations. I thought like Ezra played really well. We talked about anticipation and rotation, so I think he did the best he could. But then, yeah, Tony and Ben, arguably the more skilled team, ends up coming out on top, which we see so often around that. So great series, though. I really enjoyed that.
Absolutely. Now we'll have the players on and get a few questions, a little bit of a interview post game. Ezra, we got y'all on.
Yeah, we're regrouping, but I'm here.
All right.
Hello.
Thoughts on that series?
I mean, Tony's a little bit too athletic for us. I think is mostly the problem. A few plays were like, we didn't really think he could do it, and then he did it. We weren't really covering the right spots, but not much we're gonna do on those.
How are you feeling physically after playing a 3-game series where you guys were doing a lot of moving, a lot of rotating, not playing in a tournament in a couple months? How do you feel?
We've been playing for like 2 hours, once or twice a week. So like physically, I feel fine. My knees hurt because I don't have knee pads on and I've been sliding around. But like I could keep going. It's also the hottest it's been here in 2020.
How hot is it?
It's probably like 82.
Oh, that's way too hot.
Yeah, way too hot.
Maybe for some of you.
Well, let's get Pat on real quick.
Yeah,
everyone's wanting Pat, if we're gonna be honest.
Okay, well, I'm here for all of you guys. How are you guys?
We're doing phenomenal. How was it playing a full 3-game series, 3 former Premier / Pro players on QuaranSTREAM? How did that feel?
You know, I came in today. I had played against another Premier player, Dantowitz, taking a game off him. So I came in maybe, but you know, some people measure today's performance in wins. Some of us in fun, and me a whole heckin' boatload of fun.
That's
And
what it's
again,
about, man.
We'll take that to the bank. We have 1 win also, and taking a win off of these Premier boys over here. Let me just say, going home tonight, pretty embarrassing for them.
Love it.
Well, thank you guys so much, by the way.
Just curious real quick, on that dub against them, how much are they going to hear about that, and how frequently?
So we play a lot of board games in the house, and let me just tell you, if you think that these guys can go 1 round around the table without hearing a quip or a jab, you're wrong. Every single day.
Good for you.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much. I'll pass this back off to Ben, and everybody stay healthy, stay home.
Thanks, Pat.
Hey, it's me and Tony here.
Hey.
Hey guys, how y'all feeling? Does the win feel like it should? Is there any disappointment for dropping a game? What's just the general feel of that dub?
I'd say on the whole, a 2-game win just doesn't feel as good. So having that like conflict in game 2, taking that drop, makes the 3-game win that much more satisfying. How about you?
That's a good point.
Yeah, I hate conceding anything to them. So when Pat goes around and jabs me, it's gonna hurt every single time, and I will not let him win again. When Pat
Wow.
goes around and jabs me,
You said winners have to make
every single time, and I will not let him win again.
What was that from Ezra?
I think Tony's gonna be making dinner. So that's a tough luck for Tony.
Oh yeah.
What's for dinner, Tony?
Eggplant parm tonight.
Nice.
Getting a whole
That's a
couple
good
tray
choice.
loads of them. Eggplant parm tonight.
All right. Well, Dylan, do you have any more questions? Anything from the chat?
No, I think I've been checking out the chat. We've got some great engagement. We had a steady 33 to, I think our peak was 44, at least on my end viewers. So
Glad to
for
hear
me, yeah, thank you guys so much for coming out, spending your Saturday watching some roundnet. I always love doing this. Logan, thank you for commentating with me. But I
Absolutely.
look forward to doing this more in the future. Just a
Yeah.
general note, I've been saying it on streams I've been on, but if you guys are interested in creating content, talking around that, just do it, man. This is a time where we need our sport, we need our community to come together. So I love doing stuff like this. I love doing stuff like this.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
This is
Dylan.
the best time for content.
Absolutely. Dylan, if I can piggyback on coming together, thinking about that community. I know we're trying to put what we can together to donate some money towards Feeding America. And for those watching, just wanted to shout out, if you guys are able, don't know everyone's situation, don't see who's in chat because I'm not on the stream, but would definitely encourage you guys to look at feedingamerica.org. And if you can give something, a lot of people need help. So would really recommend doing that if you're able.
Absolutely. It's
Thanks,
a great
Ben.
message.
All right. Well, I think that's all we got for today. Like Dylan said, keep putting content out there. We love to see something. Now is the best time. Like, you don't have to wait for someone to tell you it's okay. That's what's great about this community. You get to know people and put out content. And especially like times like this, like, let's make some content for a good cause as well. Just like Ben shout out. So thank y'all for joining and listening in. Hope to see y'all next time.
See you guys.